Cassava Farming Secrets Step-by-Step Guide. Step number 4. Early weed management. This is the critical practice. And these are sustainable techniques that increase yields by 70% while cutting costs by 50%. Understanding why early weeding control determines yields. The single most important management practice during cassava production, the practice that determines whether you will harvest 25 tons per hectare or 8 tons per hectare, is early weed control during the first 3 to 4 months after planting. Yet this is precisely where most cassava farmers fail, either neglecting weeds entirely during this critical window because cassava can compete weeds eventually, or implementing late weed control after damage is already done. The brutal reality is that weed competition during the first 90 to 120 days after planting reduces cassava yields by between 40 to 70% through suppressing early canopy establishment, reducing early root bulking, and delaying canopy closure, allowing weeds to continue competing. A field left unweeded for the first 3 months will produce between 40 to 70% less yield, even if meticulously weeded afterwards, because the damage from the early competition is irreversible. Therefore, understanding cassava weed competition dynamics transforms how you allocate limited labor. Cassava is extremely slow growing during the first 2 to 3 months after planting, while roots establish and shoots develop, making it highly vulnerable to weed competition during this period. But once canopy closes, typically 3 to 4 months after planting, in well-managed fields, cassava's dense shade suppresses most weeds and further weed control becomes largely unnecessary. The economic implications of this biological reality are profound. Investing between 60 to 80 hours per hectare in intense early weed control during months 1 to 3 provides returns of between $800 to $1,500 per hectare through yield improvement, while the same 60 to 20 hours invested in weed control during months 5 to 8 provide minimal returns because the critical competition period has passed. The optimal weed control strategy, therefore, concentrates efforts early when it matters most, then accepts modest weed growth later when competition impact is minimal. Conversely, the common farmer practice of ignoring weeds early when labor is needed for other crops or tasks, then frantically weeding late in the season when weeds are large and difficult to remove, is precisely backwards, achieving maximum labor expenditure with minimal yield benefit. Let's look at implementing strategic early weeding management. The proven three-phased weed management system provides optimal results. First weeding at 3 to 4 weeks after planting, when cassava plants are just establishing 2 to 4 leaves. Weed seedlings are small and easily removed. Removing all weeds using hand or hand hose, cultivating slowly, shallowly, between 5 to 8 centimeter depth around plants, taking care not to damage emerging cassava shoots or cut roots, and requiring approximately between 25 to 35 hours per hectare labor with hand tools. This fast weeding is absolutely critical. Missing this window allows weeds to establish making second weeding much more difficult and labor-intensive. Second weed or second weeding at between 8 to 10 weeks after planting, when cassava plants are actively growing but canopy haven't yet closed, removing all weeds that have emerged since first weeding, using hand hoes or animal drawn cultivators if available, requiring approximately between 25 to 35 hours per hectare. This second weeding maintains weed-free condition during the critical competition period, allowing maximum cassava growth. Third weeding at between 12 to 16 weeks after planting. This is optional depending on weed pressure, removing any persistent weeds before canopy closure, requiring approximately 20 to 30 hours per hectare if needed. Total labor for 3 weedings is between 70 to 100 hours per hectare, concentrated in first 3 to 4 months. After canopy closure, that is between 3 to 5 months, in well-managed fields, dense cassava shade suppresses most weeds and further weeding becomes largely unnecessary. A properly managed early weed control program eliminates between 70 to 80% of total weed control labor, compared to continuous season-long weeding that many farmers practice. The large savings are substantial. Farmer neglecting early weeding but continuously fighting weeds throughout the season may invest between 150 to 250 hours per hectare in weed control, while achieving poor yields. Farmers implementing intensive early control invest between 70 to 100 hours, achieving excellent yields. Then labor, producing better results through strategic timing. Herbicide integration for farmers with access and resources. Pre-emergency herbicide applied within 1 to 2 days after planting, that is before cassava emerges, can control fast flush of weeds, reducing or eliminating fast manual weeding. Using products like metribuzin or alacta or other cassava registered herbicides, following label instructions carefully, costing between $40 to $80 per hectare, but saving between 25 to 35 hours of annual labor worth between $40 to $80, essentially breaking even on cost while providing more timely weed control and freeing labor for other activities. Post-emergence herbicides targeting grasses or broadleaves can supplement manual weeding where appropriate, though careful application avoiding cassava plants is essential. For most smallholders, manual weeding remains the primary practical weed control or control method, making timing and intensity the critical success factor. Cassava planting secrets, step-by-step guide, step number 5. Click the link on the description below and watch this inspiring step-by-step secret. Thank you.